Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Trent. This is Rams Talk. Welcome to the LA Rams versus Detroit Lions game recap. Probably one of the most interesting and messed up games all in one that I've seen in quite some time. What we thought was going to be a complete and total blowout ended up being a closer and I guess much more on the edge of your seat game. Even for both teams. Honestly, I don't think any of us, except for Sean McVay, saw what the Lions had in store for us this game. And I mean, it was kind of a nail biter. It came down to the end. It kind of reminded me of the New York Giants game from last year, where we just could never pull away, and it was kind of weird and slow and in the mud. But yeah, the Rams win 28-19. They improved to 45-41-1 all time versus the Detroit Lions. This coupled with the fact that the 49ers lost last night, they're now 2-4. The Rams are 6-1. And so this is just great, great times. Now I apologize to everyone because I'm live streaming right now and I had some streaming issues. So there were some people in the chat before. So I hope they make their way back there. If you're watching this on replay, let me know what you think of the game. There are a lot of things to get to, a lot of things to dissect. And if you're watching this for the first time and you're a Rams fan, please subscribe. Got Rams content coming at you all the time, pre and post game. So yeah, good to see some people already in the chat, but let me kind of just get through my little spiel at the beginning and then I'll say what's up. I see Ruiz the Rams here. Always good to see Ruiz here. Edwin Gonzalez, what's up? Anderson, always good. Philip, the appendix, Sean, Christian, ex Frankie 3. So good to see you all. I'll get to your questions in just a second, but I'm sure I'm speaking for everyone here that was a very, very interesting game. And I think, before I get into a lot of the individual things throughout the game, the main thing that really set this game apart was the special teams confusion. I mean, I think Jordan Rodriguez of the Athletics said it best that we've seen the floor, but this game was the basement. And really, if you think about a team having three different units, the offense, the defense, and special teams, the offense I think has been pretty good. The defense has been pretty good. I know some people are going to get upset about that. But the special teams has been terrible. And I thought that coming into the season, we would see an improved unit over last year when John Bonamego was the special teams coach. And Joe DeCamillis, a highly regarded special teams coordinator, came in, still well liked, but I mean, just insane. And I mean, here's the thing: the Lions, they pulled off those special teams plays to perfection. I mean, like really to perfection. Sometimes you see special teams plays and they kind of get botched and go awry, but those special teams plays were to perfection. The onside kick was perfect. The first fake punt was the guy was guarded. It wasn't like the previous week against the Giants when Ben Skowronek was lined up and he caught the pass and they called the weird offsetting penalty that I still do not understand, but no one was guarding him. He was out there on an island all by himself. And that's kind of a blown coverage on the special teams. Whereas this one was Nick Scott was guarding that guy. And so it's almost like they felt that it was coming. They still couldn't stop it. They were out executed. And then the third one was where they ran the ball around and picked up more than enough yardage, over 10 yards. And that I think the Lions, here's the thing. The Lions had to do what they had to do. And that reminded me of yesterday's Lions, reminded me of how the Rams used to be when our best players were Johnny Hecker, Greg Zuerlein, Danny Amendola, and maybe Robert Quinn. Like those were our best players. And so we really relied on special teams, and Bones was really kind of like, one of the most regarded coaches on the roster because special teams, that third unit for the Rams back in the day was the best unit that they had, maybe behind the defense. So, the Lions really had to pull out all the bags, all the tricks in the bag. And when you look at the offense for the Lions, you realize why. I mean, that's not a dynamic offense. They're not going to generate a lot of points. They're not throwing the ball down the field. I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for, Khalif Raymond and Kadero Hodge might have been the only wide receivers that caught passes yesterday. It was all DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams, TJ Hawkinson, and Khalif Raymond. But, it's not dynamic, and they have to generate as many opportunities as possible. And it's, they said this during the broadcast, you have to limit the amount of touches that the Rams have, that Matthew Stafford has. That's how you keeping the Rams off the field is the priority, and you do that any way possible. And I mean, honestly, the Lions with a depleted roster from injury, but also talent wise, what you have to give credit to Dan Campbell and all those guys for buying in and knowing that they're probably going to lose, but they're going to go down. They're not going to go down without a fight, and that's admirable. And I hope they keep that spirit. I mean, I feel for the Lions, I still do, but and here I am, a Rams fan, talking about all that. But I mean, special teams was crazy. I mean, with all those special teams trickeration and all those gadget plays that they had, they kept the ball out of Matthew Stafford's hands until 7 minutes 23 seconds to go in the first quarter. So basically, ate up the entire first half of the first quarter before the Rams even touched the ball. And I mean, Sean McVay must have just worn out a spot like a row, just walking, pacing back and forth. He was fuming. And he even said that they anticipated coming into this game that the Lions were going to pull off a lot of the special teams kind of stuff, and they still couldn't stop it. So I mean, it's kind of like, it's one thing if you're completely caught off guard, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. And I mean, they were fooled 3 times. So if you didn't know, if you were just ignorant and just like, I don't know, we're just going to keep running out the same packages on special teams and getting the same result, then that shows you're not evolving. But if you then knew about it going into each play and you still couldn't do it, you still couldn't figure it out. Like it didn't seem like they had the hands team in there on the first kickoff. So on the opening, kickoff for the Lions kicking off to the Rams. So, if they knew that it was a potential and they still couldn't do anything, then that really speaks to how inept the special teams is. Now, they're very young special teams. They have a new coach, no lack of effort. But I mean, what are they doing? Ben Skowronek returning kicks from, like just kneel the ball in the end zone and get the ball at the 25. There is no shame in getting a touchback, especially at the 25. With the way the first 2 touch or kick-off returns that Ben Skowronek had. So I mean, that's one thing, is like, what are we doing out there? Tutu Atwell was nowhere to be seen. Deshaun Jackson was. I was kind of excited for that. Actually, I was really excited for Deshaun Jackson out there. But I just kind of feel like we don't even know what's going on in special teams. And I'll tell you, the best part late in the game when the Rams stopped the Lions on 4th down, the best part about that is that the Rams got the ball back without their special teams being involved, because that would have been a complete disaster. So, I mean, the special teams needs to get figured out. And I'll tell you this, though, one bright spot about special teams is Matt Gay. I mean, Matt Gay has been money. He just had that one, I think it was against Arizona this year. Other than that, though, last week against the Giants, or no, yeah, he nailed it. No, what is not against the Giants? It was before the Giants. I'm losing. Who did the Rams beat before the Giants? But anyways, he nailed that kick towards the end of the game to really ice it. And in this game as well, he hit that 47-yarder. That's not a gimme. 47-yarders are not gimmies. So, another general overall takeaway is that the Rams, a lot of people want to bang on the Rams defense and Raheem Morris. And I mean, man, people are so reactionary. It's crazy. It reminds me of me when I was younger and I was just so passionate. And every time a play went wrong, that player needs to be cut. That player's terrible. That player's messing up. This guy needs to be fired. And when you think about it, they gave up that opening drive long touchdown to DeAndre Swift. And that was the only touchdown they gave up the whole game. Everything else were field goals. So the defense actually buttoned it down. And I think if Terrell Lewis didn't have that personal foul, it would have been like second and whatever. That really kind of changed the tide back there. But there's the bend but don't break. And I think the thing about the Rams defense, if there's one thing that really, that first play to DeAndre Swift, okay. It's kind of ironic that Jared Goff, the Rams sent tons of pressure at Jared Goff and he got it out to the right player. Like why couldn't you do that when he was on the Rams? Okay. But anyway, so he gets that off to DeAndre Swift, power to him on that. DeAndre Swift, I have him in fantasy. So that was a pleasant little silver lining on this game for me. But, the Rams they didn't. The thing that I guess bothered me in this game was every time it was down in distance, 2nd and 15, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 15. Any of those plays, it was a pass, a, a delay, handoff, or something like that, a trap or something like so. DeAndre Swift pretty much was involved in every meaningful offensive play for the Lions. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I know this is coming. I know it's coming. It was like 2 years ago when Christian McCaffrey was really good for the Panthers, and every play was going to Christian McCaffrey, and you knew it. You just knew it. It's almost like the Rams, it's 3rd down for the Rams, or they're in the red zone, and you know it's going to Cooper Kupp. So there's a difference between knowing something's going to be happening, like in the special teams miscues, like with DeAndre Swift, but then actually preventing it. I felt like the Rams were very slow. And I the bend but don't break is fine, but like when you know that they're not going deep, when you know you really just need to cover one guy going deep, Khalif Raymond, because he's really fast, and you know it's either going to be Hawkinson or Swift. Like book it. Amon Ra St. Brown did not have a catch, I don't think, in this game. It was all DeAndre Swift. Jamal Williams still running wild over the Rams from the Packers playoff game from last year. But it's just it's DeAndre Swift every time, and that last interception that that tipped into the hands of completely spacing out. Was it Rochelle? No, who dove and caught it at the end? But it was tipped off of DeAndre Swift's hand. So you're just it's one of these things where, come on, we know it's going to go. In the Rams for as good as they are in a lot of phases, really are not good defending in space. So, these little dump offs underneath, it kills the Rams every time. And I don't know why there's that much space. The field should be condensed against the Lions. It should be like, bring those two high safeties, bring them down, bring everyone down, bump them off the line. Jared Goff has that internal clock going, and he knows, bam, bam, I gotta get this out. So, that was just some general thoughts right off the bat. I'll get to some other things in a second, but let me check in with everyone. And by the way, everyone, I really appreciate you showing up on short notice. If you could hit that thumbs up, really boost this live stream out there. I'm just going to kind of jump into the comments here, but it's really good to see everyone here. What's up, RV Hopper, and what's up, Cole? And yeah, it was a scary game. It was a scary game. It was kind of like, is this going to be one of those games? And it just shows you guys. It shows you we were all so cocky and confident. And it reminds me of 2018. I was the same way. When we had Todd Gurley and, the Super Bowl team, and we were invincible. And every time there was a close game with like a mid-range, low-level opponent, we were like, why didn't we trounce them? What's wrong with us? And you just got to, like, the Chiefs just lost, 27-3? Football is a humbling sport. And it's not, teams just don't steamroll. The Ravens got manhandled by the Bengals. Contending teams, good teams lose, or they play tight games against mediocre to bottom teams. It happens any given Sunday. We lost to the Jets last year. So, I think it's a humbling experience, really, to just think, okay, the Lions, like, those guys were hungry. They weren't just going to lie down and just, hey, we suck, so hey, kick our butts. That's not how they're going to do it. So I think, even though we're playing the Texans coming into this week, and I was watching that Arizona game, and it's the first half of the first quarter, it was like the same kind of deal. The Texans were up 5-0, very random score. Arizona pulled away. The better teams usually do, but the Texans, they've got a lot of fight in them, and they're not going to lie down. So, this is just kind of a note to self on these things. Just because we expect to beat them by 16 points, or we're expected to beat them by 16 points, that's not usually the reality of these things. So, I just tip of the cap for the Lions for bringing it. And I think had they not, let's say, if two of those fakes don't work, the Rams win by, it's not 28-19, it's probably 38-19, to be honest with you, because after after the Lions went up, what, 10 to or 13 to nothing, the Rams rattle off 17 points. So, I mean, I think everyone was like, okay, it's not like it's not whether we're gonna get back into this game, it's when are we gonna get back in this game. And by the time, then we have so much catch up we have to play. So, I'm just hopeful that the special teams can get cleaned up a little bit. And going against Texans, I'm sure there are things being put down on tape that were, other teams are analyzing. So, all right, what's up, Anderson? I'm glad we got the win, but I was mad most of the game. Yeah, I was just like, all right, let's go, let's get it together. And you could see, I mean, Anderson, I think you and Sean McVay your heads were probably ready to explode. Shane says, finally, a jump ball TD to Jefferson. Been waiting for one of those. Stafford loves those type of red zone passes. And Shane, exactly. Exactly. I tweeted it out at the time. That throw that Stafford threw to Jefferson on that jump ball on the left side of the end zone, that's a throw that Jared Goff never threw, ever. When John Wolford came in that game, final game against Arizona, I remember it clear as day, a pass, 20, 25-yard pass down the right-hand side, maybe a little bit more, to Robert Woods, who was being covered pretty well, and he jumped up and kind of caught the ball over the defender. Jump ball situation. But I remember watching that last year and going, wow, like it's nice. Like Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson, these guys, it's not like you have to be, it's like, it's not, there are some guys that excel at contested catches more than others. Then there are some that could be good at it, but they're never given the opportunity. And I feel that's the Rams. Van Jefferson, why that, and that is, you're right, Shane. That is Matthew Stafford's bread and butter. His B&B is just throwing those, jump up, make a play. Make a play. That was, to me, that was the nicest score of the day, because it's just so, it seems like every other team's doing that. Back shoulder throws, just throw it up there. It almost seems like something you'd throw up to Higbee, or what we were waiting for Jacob Harris to be and bring to the table. But I mean, that's awesome. And that's awesome. Van Jefferson really stepping up. Van Jefferson, I think they said he's already eclipsed his receptions or his yardage totals from last year. I think he already has 2 or 3 touchdowns. So, it's conceivable that Van Jefferson, hits the 800 to 900 yardage range this year with maybe 6 or 7 TDs. Not bad for a second year number 3 wide receiver. But yeah, to your point, Shane Hackett, I'm glad you brought that up. I probably would have missed talking about it, but I really love that. And speaking of the red zone, I think we're 3 for 4 in the red zone, and also third downs, 9 for 13. We really responded. The previous 2 games that we played, we were 4 for 21 in the red zone. And so 9 for 13, that's pretty awesome on third down. So, we really got back in our groove on third down in red zone. The play to Kupp, both plays to Kupp, and to the one play to Van Jefferson were things of beauty. Let's see what is up. Victory Monday. I mean, seriously, we're 6-1. Okay. At the end of the year, and someone brought this up, I saw earlier, power rankings, how the Rams are going to slide in the power rankings. I'm like, cool, but you just get those W's and you actually climb the real rankings. And that's all that matters. Right now, the class of the NFC are the Packers, they're the Rams, they're the Cardinals, they're the Bucks, and they're the missing a team. Packers, Bucks, and Cowboys. So, we really have to keep pace with those teams if we want a first round bye or home field advantage throughout the majority of the playoffs. So every win counts. We have Texas coming up. Got to play hard. Got to stay dialed in for that. Then we have Titans coming up after that. And to me, Titans are playing strong, and that's going to be a tough game. I hope the Rams are not looking ahead to that game. Can we rehire Coach Bones? Yeah, yeah, it's coaching, but it's also personnel. I just don't know if the Rams have the personnel. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just a bunch of young guys all learned together. But I remember when they drafted Nick Scott, it was because of special teams. We're getting the best special teams guy. Jacob Harris was like the best special teams guy in the draft, but like who are our returners? And I don't even know if it's necessarily, yeah, it's probably coaching because, these fakes, I don't know. It's all over the place. It just seems like you plug, one hole in the dam with one finger, then another water a hole opens up and water springs out. So it just seems like it's one thing after another. And hopefully that doesn't bite us in the ass and we lose sometime in the season because of that. Rams special team is iffy to say the least. To say the least. What's up, Gil? Flashbacks of the Jets loss last year and the Lions' first two possessions. Yeah, I was kind of feeling the same thing, but I guess I felt like, it was just a matter of time of the Rams just getting the ball back. And in the second half, so when the Rams scored at the end of the first half, and then I think what the Lions kicked the field goal, but the Rams got the ball back in the beginning of the second half. And I'm like, oh, classic. Rams defer. Rams always get it and score a touchdown. And they punted. And then they went for it on fourth down the next drive, and they didn't get it, which I'd still go for that fourth down, by the way. The question Philip has as a Rams fan is the bend not break defense philosophy by Raheem Morris. And, I agree with that, but here's the thing. In this game, it wasn't so much the bend don't break that kill. It was the special teams things. Let's just hypothetically say the Lions just said, we're playing straight up football. We're not doing any gadget plays. We're just going to kick off and punt. They had 9 possessions. The Rams had 9 possessions. If it wasn't for those 3 trick plays, they would have had 6 possessions and the Rams would have had 12 possessions. So that was just 3 extra possessions that the defense had to play defense for. The special teams basically let the defense down in this game. So, that to me, that's like the big part of this was not so much the defense, it was the special teams kind of putting the defense back on the hook. And the bend don't break, I think it's just it makes a lot of sense with last year's team. Troy Hill, JJ, they kind of Morgan Fox, Brockers, like they had the guys to do it, but also remember last year that didn't really, you know, coalesce until, halfway through the season or when they kind of went through the stretch of playing some of the bad teams and that's when, Washington and Giants, and that's when they really started holding the opponents down. But I mean, you give them 3 extra possessions and all they do is get field goals. Opening opening drive, okay, they got one on us, whatever. Last year against Arizona, we had that busted coverage. Dan Arnold, the tight end, was like down the field. No one was there. It happens. But, I don't think they allowed many explosives after that. So I hear you. And it's really going to be interesting to see what happens, when we play Derrick Henry and AJ Brown and Julio Jones and Ryan Tannehill. Like, well, that's when we're going to be tested really for this. So let's build together with Gio Capistrano. Good to see you, Gio Cap. Hi. Rams House, what's happening? How you doing? Rams House is working on his video for the recap. So when you're done here and later in the day, go to Rams House, go to Payo Time. I saw Payo Time in here somewhere. Payo Time is always good stuff. So check those guys out. Always great source of Rams content. In fact, yeah, there is Payo Time right there. Hey, Trent and Ramley, what's up, Payo? Let's see, he's stoked but has legit concerns about special teams, but he believes it's fixable. I hope it's fixable. I mean, I think the Texans, you got to be aware of that. But I mean, this is on tape now, so I think maybe teams take more shots. What's going on, Ray? What's going on, Andrew Ortiz? Good to see the both of you in here. Your special teams is suspect. The Rams defensive coordinator, special teams coaches need to move on somewhere else. Well, Gil, I think special teams is that's one fair for criticism. But I mean, we gave up only 19 points. I mean, we average giving up 18 points a game, so we're close to that. I mean, it's not. I really don't think we were that bad on defense, to be honest with you. Especially you take away those extra possessions that they had, like I just said, and it's not too shabby. So I mean, also you got to think about like our we're down D Will, And, Rochelle even got here. We basically there was a point where D Will and Rochelle were out. We had to bring David Long in. We're playing David Long and Dante Dayon. And at that last year, we didn't have this issue. We had D Will, Troy Hill, Jalen Ramsey, John Johnson, Jordan Fuller for most of the season. Like our secondary was like completely like locked in and no worries. And this year we've had injuries and we've had new players, and David Long hasn't panned out. So, it's not always on the coordinator, it's on the personnel that they have as well. And, look, if you don't believe me, look at the Chargers. I mean, I think the Rams defense has been better than the Chargers defense, and the Chargers, that's Brandon Staley's team. So I'm still holding off judgment. I mean, I think we just have to know that our defense isn't going to be like it was last year. Like I said, though, my biggest beef with it is the screen passes when that's all they have. Like if they're just legit beating you at places, like that's fine. But when you just know it's going to be DeAndre Swift, like literally every freaking time, then that's kind of, to me, I'm like, let's go. And Kenny Young was great. He was really jacked up, but he's not the fastest guy. And I think that's one thing that we really miss in the middle of the field is team speed. Taylor Rapp is not the fastest guy. I felt Jordan Fuller, he led the team in tackles yesterday. He actually was pretty fast and he was in there a lot of the time. Jalen Ramsey played like a man on a mission. He was just making moves all over the place, making plays all over the place. He read that read on Hawkinson, and that interception in the end zone was a thing of beauty. Goff was still missing open guys who could have scored. Yes, Ray, you're totally right. There was a play, remember, where Goff, he went to like unload it deep, but he like checked it and brought the ball back in. And then he was sacked. They showed the camera angle from behind him down the field, and Raymond was doing a post and breaking out, and there was no one, like he was there. If Goff just unloaded it and just threw it as far as he could, the Rams wouldn't have caught it, and it would have been there for Raymond. But it's like he has something. It's almost like he is programmed to not throw the ball deep. It's like he has his natural instinct. He's like, oh yeah, there it is. And he's like, nope, like can't do it. And it's so crazy. I thought that yesterday he had Raymond wide open on a bomb and just couldn't pull the trigger. Maybe he felt like he was going to get hit, so he wanted to tuck the ball. That just goes to speak to Goff's, kind of, dancy feet. I don't know, happy feet. So yeah, it was, that's Goff though. I mean, he really did a lot of small ball. I mean, he gets credit, all his passing yards. He gets credit for that DeAndre Swift pass. It's kind of like how Jimmy Garoppolo has always been, where his passes don't go much further than the line of scrimmage, yet he ends up with like 200 to 300 passing yards. And it's because all the yak that his guys get. I mean, last year was all yak as well, and that's what's kind of cool is you look at the stats in Cooper Kupp's stats this year, not as much yak because he doesn't need it. Speaking of Cooper Kupp, just want to talk about a guy who has been dubbed Vanillatron. So now with Matthew Stafford, it's not Megatron, it's Vanillatron, which is pretty amazing. Cooper Kupp, 10 catches on 13 targets, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's the 4th player in Super Bowl era with 50-plus catches, 700-plus receiving yards, and 8-plus receiving touchdowns in his team's first 7 games. And that puts him in the company of Steve Smith, Torrey Holt, Marvin Harrison. In fact, he's leading the NFL in targets, receptions, yards, and touchdowns. If you filter by touchdowns, he's got 9. Next closest player is DeAndre Hopkins at 7. But DeAndre Hopkins has fewer than half of the amount of yards that Cooper Kupp has at 800. So 800 something. So Cooper Kupp is just on another level right now. And the thing is, I think you look at Cooper Kupp and you kind of get pigeonholed into what kind of receiver you think he is, if you know what I mean. Adam Thielen type, Wes Welker type. But you look at him and the moves he puts on, he is extremely athletic. That move on the sideline, kind of like the Olay. And you know what? He fights for extra yards. He doesn't just run out of bounds. He doesn't just fall down, but he's got moves. He's got moves in the open field, and he makes yards after the catch. It's not so much he catches something on like a quick slant and he's just running and he catches it over the middle until he gets tackled. It's like he catches it. Defender comes at him one-on-one, and he's putting moves on and getting past the defender using straight arms, using his moves. And it's really time. I think that people are waking up to the fact that given a top quarterback in the NFL throwing him the ball, he's Devontae Adams. He's Devontae Adams, and it's time that he gets respect, like the top receivers get respect. And I have Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford in my fantasy team this year, and it's just glorious. It's absolutely glorious. And I hope a lot of you out there also have Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp. I'm pretty sure most of you do, because we all knew it was going to be good, but it's really crazy. Matthew Stafford, 19 touchdowns this year. You know how many touchdowns Jared Goff threw last year? All of last year in 16 games, he threw 20. So Matthew Stafford is one touchdown behind through 7 games, Goff's full total of last year. I mean, Matthew Stafford's on pace to get 45 touchdowns this year. That's insane. Insane. I'll do that trade a million times. A million times I will make that trade for Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff for Stafford. Stafford, he's second in the league in touchdowns behind Tom Brady, third in terms of yards, but he's only 100 behind Tom Brady, and I think Derek Carr is second. So I mean, he's top 2, top 3 in almost every meaningful quarterback statistic. Only 4 interceptions, 19 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. I mean, my goodness, it's ridiculous. And versus the blitz, which is really insane considering, like, and I'm not trying to trash Jared Goff, but it's really more or less to talk about the vast difference between the two of them, the style, just how they are and how they process the game. But Stafford versus the blitz yesterday was 10 of 11 for 142 yards and 3 touchdowns. So when the pressure's coming and he's not scrambling around, he's not running around like, oh, I got blitz, boom, I'm out of the pocket. Like he just gunslinging it. He's throwing sidearm. He just knows where to go. All of the pre-snap reads he's making. Oh, and to just wrap that thing up about versus the blitz this year, on the year, he's 48 for 63 with 698 yards and 8 touchdowns. He has a plus 47 EPA versus the blitz this year. The next closest quarterback isn't even over 30. So if you try and blitz Matthew Stafford, he's eating you up. He's drinking your milkshake. So keep blitzing Matthew Stafford. And what I really wanted to kind of segue into here is the pre-snap reads he's making. Reminds me of Aaron Rodgers in the playoff game last year, where he was seeing everything, making all the reads, lining everything up. And there are a couple times, when he brought Darrell Henderson in right behind the guard, and Darrell Henderson didn't do great running the ball. I mean, the offensive line, the Rams offensive line run blocking, not great. The Lions really did a great job of stuffing the lanes. So I tip of the cap to the Lions on that. But what I really loved about what Darrell Henderson did yesterday was his pass blocking. There was a time where they put him in there in the A gap, and he just took on 2 guys. And he was constantly taking guys. The pressure was coming up the middle. Matthew Stafford knew it, put Darrell Henderson there, and God bless that little fire hydrant, like a beer keg, Darrell Henderson. He stood in there and he took it. He took the heat, and he bought Stafford an extra second on all of those, and that's all he needed to help undress the Lions defense in the secondary. So, I think it's okay if the running attack isn't there. I mean, I felt like they still went for it. They still tried to run the ball. It's not like they just abandoned it. But that was just a great thing. Great, like, ownership from all the players on the offense. Darrell Henderson, there was a time he was kind of jogging around, and then he looked at the clock and knew it, and he sprinted, he got in a place, and they hiked the ball. And I think that's just, I feel like all the Rams players kind of are dialed in and know what's going on. All right, here. Let's see what else we got from the people, from the Rams Talk people. Thanks for everyone for stopping by. By the way, if you were watching this on replay, shoot me a comment. Let me know what you felt about this game. If you're watching it live right now, give me a thumbs up. And if you are watching this and you're a Rams fan, you haven't subscribed, or you just want some good NFL football content, boom, subscribe. It's a good time. Everyone here in the comments, good people. Join the community. Lots of good people here, feeling the Rams love. If you're a Detroit Lions fan, hey, I heard that was just a lot of good vibes between the Rams and the Lions fans yesterday. So that's just great to hear. We welcome you, Lions fans, into the Rams community because we know what it's like to be the laughing stock of football for multiple years. So we were there. Seahawks. I hear Rams House is talking Seahawks here. They're playing tonight. Seahawks lose. I'm just going to give you one quick little nugget on the Seahawks. Okay, I know there's Rams talk. I'm going to talk Seahawks real quick. So this season's going to get away from the Seahawks. I think we already know that. It's already going downhill. Russell Wilson's injured. Geno Smith is a decent backup, but that roster is trash. They've got some good players, skill position, got a couple of good players sprinkled here and there, but overall that roster is trash. And they don't have a first-round pick this year. They don't know how to draft, to be honest with you. So if I'm Russell Wilson, I am out of there. I mean, like, I really do believe that this is the end. This is the last season Russell Wilson will be on the Seahawks because he's going to get to the end of the season. He's going to realize, well, we don't have a first-round pick. I can't count on this front office to do anything for me. I want to go win. I want to be like that. Seahawks are not it for the next. Like they're phasing out. One team I thought about as a possible trade, very random. Two teams actually. Miami. I think like Miami next year, you get Russell Wilson, but I don't know if that roster is exactly there. But the other team, the sleeper team for Russell Wilson, the Cleveland Browns. Imagine Cleveland saying, hey, we'll give you Baker Mayfield and 2 first-round picks for Russell Wilson. Like if you're Seattle and you get, I mean, Baker Mayfield is a viable NFL quarterback. He's not amazing. He's kind of like Goff 2.0, but a little better at this point. But 2 first-rounders and Baker Mayfield for Russell Wilson, maybe a second rounder in there as well. What do you guys think of these trades? I just been thinking about the Seahawks and kind of like how bad of a spot they're in. If they lose tonight, like just mail it in. It's over. Then you look at the 49ers. I mean, can we really can people just stop telling us how special Kyle Shanahan is? I know they've got some injuries, but everyone's got some injuries. Cam Akers is out. Our top running back hasn't played. They talk about Raheem Mostert, Cam Akers, he's out, right? We're missing our second best cornerback. So, I mean, it's but we just need to beat the 49ers. That's really all it comes down to here. And it's not, and Philip says it's not just against the Lions, but really all season they have no kickoff or punt returner. Very true. And, people saying, why you draft Tutu Atwell if you're not going to use him? Well, the Rams, the last couple of years, their roster is pretty stacked. So when they draft players, they typically draft them for the next year or 2 years down the road. And I feel like that's really where Tutu is going to come in. I don't know Djax is going to be on the roster next year. Probably not. Maybe he got some good, that's really grooming players, not just having coaches coach players up. But if you're like, hey, I'm a speed guy and I'm every day going to work with one of the best speed guys of all time, seeing what it takes to be a pro. I'm seeing how he prepares, I'm looking at I'm dissecting and soaking up everything about how he approaches the game and preparing for the game, what he sees, how he sees it, and all these different things. And I think there's a lot of value to that, by being in locker rooms with guys who are doing things the right way, who have seen success and can impart wisdom. So I'm hopeful that that's kind of what Tutu Atwell becomes. He next year he makes an impact. I mean, listen, we traded Brandon Cooks basically for Van Jefferson, right? And last year, Brandon Cooks had a way better season than Van Jefferson did, So it's kind of like, well, I mean, obviously we did it as a salary cap thing, but, Van Jefferson has to pan out. Otherwise, why did we do that? So, Tutu Atwell still has to pan out, but I mean, like, it's impossible for us to say that that was a bust when we haven't even seen him play. And it's not like he's not playing because he's not good. It's just the Rams have a pretty good roster and they're very deep. So time to tell. Time will tell. 3rd and 11 draw got me over the edge. Yeah. I mean, that was the thing. And you knew it, Ruiz. You knew where it was going. Everyone knew where it was going. DeAndre Swift. It was going to DeAndre Swift every time. And hey, DeAndre Swift is a freaking baller. Like, that guy at Georgia, that's what he did. When he came into the league, he was like the running back who could catch, kind of like Travis Etienne was, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So, like, there are these running backs that could really catch as well. The bright spot is Matt Gay. He's been great making some big, long field goals. Case in point yesterday when they were only up by 6. Exactly. And when the Rams opted to go for the field goal, and what was it, like 4th and just a couple? And I thought Sean McVay's hubris and his ego was going to like get in the way and say, no, I'm going to go for it. I want to like really like punch this in and not punch it in for a touchdown, but like get that first down and just do it that way and say, screw you, Goff and, Campbell. But he went Zen, sending Gay. Because I mean, a 47 yard is not a gimme. It's not like, all right, hey, Matt Gay, go out there, kick a 25 yarder. That there was still some distance that could have gone any way. And Matt Gay nailed it. I mean, that's a pressure moment right there. So that Matt Gay has been a bright spot. And that's a great, I mean, last year, the special teams situation with the kickers, my goodness. Let's see. The Rams defense is carrying Raheem Morris, who is a vanilla DC. I think I kind of agree with you, but I mean, like who are the cornerbacks that they have outside of Jalen Ramsey without D. Will in there? I mean, it's tough. So you kind of have to, I'm really glad that when D. Will was going to miss these games, it was going to be against the Lions, the Giants, and the Texans, right? So we can kind of hopefully he can return when we have to face Julio Jones and AJ Brown. Let's see. Oh, just jumped on me. I think I missed a lot of comments here. I'm trying to go up a little bit so I don't miss anything. I know you guys have been really patient with me. I appreciate that. All right, I'm just gonna kind of wow. Okay, I'm gonna go rapid fire. Okay, oh, geez, still way up there. And you guys have been just coming at it hard here. So let's see. Goff took us to the Super Bowl. Stop with the slander. He's a great QB. He was a great QB. He's not a great QB anymore. Listen, I don't think it's the slander, to be honest with you. I think most people don't hate Jared Goff. They're appreciative of Jared Goff, but Jared Goff had limitations, and it's easy to say that. Now, granted, they don't have a great receiving core. I mean, imagine if he's on the Lions yesterday, and they've got Calvin Johnson, and they've got Marvin Jones and Golden Tate, then I think it's a different situation. I mean, he had no outside weapons, but the fact, like, honestly, if you can't sit there and look at the numbers, like Matthew Stafford has 19 touchdowns through 7 games. Jared Goff had 20 touchdowns all season long last year. It's not even close. So when you get someone like Matthew Stafford, and you just see the difference between the two quarterbacks. Like, you see it. It's not like you're sitting there talking trash about Jared Goff, but you're just being real about, could we win? Okay, Los Angeles Rams fan, let me just ask you this. Do you think if we still had Jared Goff this year and he was starting over John Wolford, that the Rams would make it to the Super Bowl and maybe even be a favorite to win the Super Bowl? I don't think that. Also, just remembered, that play where it showed Matthew Stafford wince when he kind of got hit in the ribs a little bit? I was like, oh man, if he had to go out of the game and John Wolford came in and it was John Wolford versus Jared Goff, like I kind of wanted to see that. Little bit of me wanted to see Wolford versus Goff, Civil War. But anyways, like I said, LA Rams fan, I know a lot of people are slandering Goff, but I mean, I think most of it is just like comparing them and just seeing the big difference. Lions fans, ex Frankie 3 says Lions fans showed up loud and heavy. Props to them for coming from Detroit. You don't expect it all from teams that are garbage, but they are loyal to the Lions. Good people, good time tailgating with them. Yeah. I know a lot of guys from Michigan, and I feel like Lions fans, they can't be jerks. They don't have any, there really weren't any times in our lives where they're on top of the world, being jerks. So they're just happy. They're just like, oh God, football, let's just get drunk and have fun, whatever. It's kind of how I used to be with the Rams back in the day. If only Tutu had as much promise as Jefferson. Yeah, but I mean, we just don't even know. We don't even know. To me, Tutu Atwell is a mystery. So we just don't even know. Gary Trujillo, I guess you think Goff is great. You know nothing about football. Oh, are you talking to to LA Rams fan? Hey, come on, guys. Let's all get along here. Tutu hasn't even played wide receiver, so we don't know exactly animals with horns. Exactly. Stafford having a great year so far, 19 TDs, only 4 interceptions. I'm happy as our QB finally has weapons around him, especially Cooper Kupp and an O-line playing fantastic. It's all coming together. He doesn't get sacked. He doesn't get sacked. It's all good stuff. The Breakup Bowl. Hey, by the way, Payo Time has coined it the Breakup Bowl. It's over, and we won't want the breakup and the game, and we won the breakup and the game. That's true. Apparently, Sean McVay called Jared Goff to tell him he was traded, or like after the trade, and Jared Goff hung up on him. Now, I don't know what the context was. I don't know if it was one of those things like where they one said bye faster than the other and like hung up, and while the other person was still saying goodbye, and it was like, kind of one of those awkward ones you do with people that you're cool with. Or like it's kind of weird to think of Jared Goff hanging up on Sean McVay, but at least he cares about something. Goff was great in 2018, not good now. I mean, that's what happens. Some players at every position just have it one time and then they don't. Cowboys, not even Goff in the top 5 greatest Rams quarterback. Yeah, I don't know. Warner, Bolger, Goff, Everett, and Roman Gabriel, Norm Van Brocklin. I don't know about those old guys. What's up, Darius? Titans are hot right now for sure. We don't even have punt return or kick returner solidified exactly. Titans are white hot right now. I know when someone asked me before we lost to Arizona, they asked me which game would we lose, what would be our first loss, and I kind of was feeling Titans at that point in time, and that game could go either way. We're wearing throwback jerseys, so it's a callback to the 99 2000 Super Bowl. So that'll be a fun game. Titans are scary considering how the Lions ran the ball against us. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, Derrick Henry. I mean, Tannehill. Tannehill's like real deal. Tannehill. Notice not only are D Jackson has been much punt return, but also Tutu. Why isn't Tutu taking punts or kickoffs? He has incredible speed. I just think Sean McVay doesn't want anyone to mess up. It's not so much about like returning a punt for a touchdown, but it's about not fumbling it, not making any mistakes. Remember Tutu Atwell last week against the Giants? He got the ball out of on a kickoff, and he just tripped over his feet and fumbled the ball out of bounds. Kind of like, dude, you didn't even get hit and you fell and fumbled, you know? So maybe the Rams should have drafted a guy who did both things. The guy, Dwayne Eskridge, who was drafted right before the Seahawks took them, right before the Rams, is like a guy who in college did both and was very fast. And I thought that was a guy I was really hoping the Rams got, but we'll see. Can't talk about Tutu if we haven't seen him. Can we please fire Raheem Morris? He has been horrible. David, he has not been horrible. We're not going to fire him. The Rams defense is okay. I mean, regression was always going to happen from last year. We lost a lot of personnel. We lost Brandon Staley. We gave up only one touchdown yesterday. I don't know. The special teams gave them 3 that made the defense go down the field 3 extra times. So I don't think the defense was bad yesterday. They have moments, but I mean, like, come on. Like, does every team's defense shut down every team's offense? I mean, the players still make plays all the time. I think last year really put this false identity on this Rams defense. I mean, yeah, we're a good defense, but we're not, like, let's be real. We're going to be top 10. If we're top 10, that's fine. To me, this game was never doubtful for the Rams. I kind of feel the same way. Just a little nervous, a little bit. Brian Flores gets fired, so we can just fire Morris and sign Flores. Morris for Flores and Flores for Morris. Flores Morris. Yeah, that I don't know if Brian Flores is going to get fired, but we'll see. I mean, it's getting crazy in Miami. Rampage is here. Do you think our defense isn't as good because we don't have Brockers anymore? Most in the Ramley blame our defensive coach, but I think it's also Brock isn't a Ram anymore. What do you think? I think it's a combination of Troy Hill, John Johnson, Michael Brockers, Morgan Fox. I think it's Brandon Staley too. I mean, listen, every year, if the offense is number one, the next year it's going to be number 5 or 7 or 3. And same thing on defense. Or if you're 30th, you're going to be. Remember in 2019, our offensive line was like second or third to last in football. And then 2020, last year, it was a top 5. So, it's kind of like we went from like a top 3 to the bottom 3. And usually those swings are so crazy, they're not really indicative of how the line is. It's more like maybe 10. And going in last year, I said, hey, if the Rams line is just top 15, then we're good. And so it's I think I really do feel that, yeah, Raheem Morris isn't as brilliant of a defensive mind as Brandon Staley, but the Rams just allowed only 4 field goals and a touchdown. I don't know why we're firing someone over that. Buddy Howell, number 38. I think it was just him was making his hits on special teams. I didn't even notice Buddy Howell. I got to go back and watch that. Hey, thanks, Andres, for calling out Buddy Howell. It's good to see. Bill, what's up? The Rams free up $3 million on their cap. Do you think we go after a cornerback? That's what I thought. But then Jordan Rodriguez mentioned that it's more like for elevating practice squad players for the most part. Kyle Fuller on the Broncos, who's fallen out of favor. They got him from the Bears. He's not even in the rotation anymore. That'd be a guy I'd target, but based on his salary, I think he'd be owed like $5 million. So the Rams would have to free up more. I don't know how many cornerbacks, unless there was a draft pick in there where the Broncos would eat some of that salary. But you get Kyle Fuller, and Kyle Fuller comes from the Bears, and he was on the Broncos via the Bears. So basically that's a Vic Fangio to Vic Fangio with a little bit of Brandon Staley. So he gets the scheme. So to me, that would make the most sense if the Rams could swing a trade for that. But then you have Kyle Fuller, you have Darius Williams when he comes back, and I think that would really, really elevate the Rams defense. So good question, Bill. Good to see you. You want Flores, the guy who was 1-6 and ruined Dolphins' chances in the playoffs by taking out Fitzpatrick last year when they were about to make the playoffs for it. Brian Flores, the team plays hard for him. The defense last year was good, but it's kind of like it was opportunistic. So, I mean, let's just wait and hold off on. I mean, I don't know why everyone just hates Raheem Morris so much. It's crazy. I mean, I'm not saying he's perfect, but like teams give up points in football. It happens, right? Ray says they would have gotten killed with no trick plays and plain and simple. Exactly. That's why they had to do it. Bend don't break works. Lions had like 5 red zone trips, no TDs. See, that's a great point right there. They went down and the Rams, but that's you're playing with fire a lot of the times. The way this fan base craps on Goff is absolutely disgraceful and shows how ungrateful it is. Also, fire Morris, Blue Man. No, we're not crapping on Goff. We're just saying, like, listen, I think most of us agree that we appreciate him as a person and for what he did when he was with the Rams. But there's really no comparison between him and Matthew Stafford, and we're happy that we have Matthew Stafford. Trey Murphin, bend don't break. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Trey. Good point. You already said that. Gary, other teams are going to try these trick plays going forward. I think maybe a little bit, but not teams that are confident in their abilities. Like I don't see the Titans doing it. Maybe the Texans, maybe the Jaguars. Yeah, I could see that. But, things are on tape now. The Rams really have to be prepared for everything. David Montgomery, it still did not make sense to me why we signed a coach from the Falcons when they were one of the worst defenses in the league last year. Well, because also they didn't have personnel. I think they also, I'm to your point. That's a very fair point. He's not known as a defensive mind, like just as a savant like Brandon Staley was, but like who else are you going to get? And I think if anything, he brings stability to the Rams and familiarity. And, he puts his twist on it, but it's also personnel, guys. The Rams don't have the same players as last year. Notice like two of them or three of them all signed pretty solid contracts with other teams. Great question. I think some will for sure. I can't remember what that was for, Ray, but something nice, I'm sure. Rambassador 99. I went to SoFi yesterday and it was one of the best experiences of my life. Oh, Rambassador 99. Can't wait to go. Can't wait to go. As someone tweeted a picture of a chili dog. It looked pretty nasty. Now I'm a chili dog kind of guy, but you really are playing with fire when you get a chili dog at a sporting event, where you're dependent on not your bathroom. So, anyways, there wasn't any cheese on it, and it was just like a lot of bean. It was like a bean heavy chili. I don't know. That's just a little something I saw about that. I'm worried about Henry running all over us 2 weeks from now. Me too. Me too. We need those thumpers. I mean, maybe that's an Ernest Jones game. Troy Reader missed some tackles in this game. A lot of missed tackles in this game. Higbee had a nice game. He almost came down with that really sweet diving catch. Just letting you guys know I'm going to be on for another 4 minutes, so I'm going to try and get through these questions rapid fire. Hell yes, I want Brian Flores. Rob, are you kidding me? That's not his fault. His QB got hurt. Okay, we're talking about that. Raheem Morris is good. Our D is in the top half of the NFL. We need to stop using last year's expectations. We lost a lot of starters considering we are just fine. We will improve as season goes on. Thank you, Martin. Thank you. See, just got to take a deep breath and like just step out at like the expectation that we are going to be the number one defense every year, the number one offense every year. It's just not real. It's just not real. Our first quarter always starts slow. We need to start better next game. Rambassador 99, that's a great point. We need to get the ball in the first quarter for once. Hey, Payo time, guys. Payo time, you got any videos coming out after this? Anderson says, I love this team. My only complaint from yesterday was the special teams. Offense didn't have the ball for much of the first quarter. I agree. Special teams needs to really be special. Not like special in a bad way, but special good way. The standard is the standard. That's the culture that was created here. If you don't hold that standard or commit, you are gone. Yep. I don't know what that's in reference to. Ken McVay, please give Raheem Morris midseason performance review before it's too late. I mean, I think it's okay. Hey, what's up, Adnan? How you doing? Good to see Adnan in the mix. Mike Denight. What's wrong with Fuller? Jordan Fuller or Kyle Fuller? Jordan Fuller? Nothing wrong with Jordan Fuller. Horns up, says Jeremiah Garcia. What's up, Jeremiah? Always good to see Jeremiah. Jeremiah is an old buddy. Yeah, Jeremiah, you were at the game yesterday, I think, right? Were you and Valor there? All these people flaming Raheem. Rams literally had some of the hardest teams all year. Yeah, that's another thing. They played Seahawks. They played Tampa Bay. They played Arizona. They played other teams that I can't think about or can't remember right now, but they had a tough schedule. Anderson had a mini heart attack when Nick Scott got shaken up. We can't afford to lose anyone. I agree. I hope he's okay. I don't know what the injury report is on everyone today. No, Martin Ream. I'm not talking about that anymore. Should Burgess have more snaps? And I got to check the snap count. I haven't even seen that yet. I'm curious to know what he had yesterday. Can't blame Morris for our defense. I think it's because we don't have Brockers anymore. Yep. I mean, yeah, that's all good points. Gary Trio, David Long is targeted every game. True. So that's why we got to do something with the secondary. NFC West is looking pretty split now. Yeah, that's another good point. I mean, I think, and this is a Rams and Cardinals race. If the Seahawks lose tonight, and I mean the Seahawks' chances going forward are not great. They're not going to. The Seahawks and the Niners are not winning this division, so their chance is a wild card. But it warms my heart when the 49ers lose and the Seahawks lose. It's just amazing. Burgess should be safety. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. There's just a lot. I mean, there's a reason why Rapp is in there instead. We gave up one touchdown, rest are all field goals, 5 straight red zone attempts, no TDs. I take only giving up field goals all year. I agree. Kenny Young traded 5 minutes ago. What? How is that? Is this real? Is this happening in real time? Is this breaking news? How can that be? I'm going to the Twitter. This can't be real. What? Yeah, something big is happening then. I don't wow. Kenny Young traded. That is insane. Man, that actually really hurts because that dude was so pumped this season. I mean, he's gotta be devastated. To the Broncos for in exchange for a 2024 six-round pick? What? We're trading him for a sixth-round pick. So something has to be going on. Why wasn't Kyle Fuller part of that? What the heck? Okay, so who steps in? Who steps in for Kenny Young, right? Man, it just goes to show the Rams don't like linebackers. Guys, I'm kinda shook right now. I mean, that hurts. When Kenny Young had his career game, was it against Tampa Bay? He talked about kind of life and how he approached this season, and it was it was pretty touching. And I'm really I'm really bummed that he's gone. I don't know, just kind of shocked. Honest emotion right here. Yeah, I can tell that a lot of people are feeling the same thing. And Axel Fisher, you still take Goff over Stafford? Oh man, that's tough. Yeah, so Philip, so okay, this is what it's saying via Twitter, via Adam Schefter says Rams are sending linebacker Kenny Young and a 2024 seventh round pick to the Broncos in exchange for 2024 sixth round pick. Per sources, Broncos have 8 injured linebackers, including 6 on injured reserve. So basically, we're just upgrading to a sixth round pick in 2024. I don't know what his salary is, so that is, I mean, is Troy Reader, Traven Howard, Ernest Jones time? Let's see. Kenny Young, I think he was still playing on his rookie deal. So, I mean, he wasn't getting that much. Kenny Young signed a 4-year, $3 million contract with the Ravens. Annual average salary of 774,000. So, wow, I mean, the Rams, they're shedding. I just don't get it. I don't know what's going on here. Wow. The Rams clearly want to get Ernest Jones on the field more, and in my understanding, that's the motivation here. But Kenny Young was playing very well for them, so this is a surprise, according to Jordan Rodrigue. The Rams basically gave Kenny Young away for free. Yeah, I mean, that's just, man, what do you guys feel about that? I mean, seriously, what do you feel about that? We're sending him to the Broncos. We got robbed. Yeah, Kenny's gone. But Vanillatron. Okay, let's go back to it's hard for me to talk about Vanillatron anymore because Kenny Young is gone. But I mean, like it's kind of weird that you just traded a guy mid-season to get a rookie on the field. You can just play the rookie. You can start splitting some snaps. Um, wow. I don't know. I gotta process this, but I'm not really happy about that. Like there's really, for me with Kenny Young, it's there's a football part of this, but also I mean, you saw yesterday after, was it Cooper Kupp got tackled out of bounds and Kenny Young was right there and picked him up, and you're like, yeah, what a great teammate. And Troy Reader was not great. Like that's the thing. I feel like they are missing team speed at the inside linebacker position. And Ernest Jones, does he really bring that? Traven Howard probably is more of your speed inside linebacker, but I don't know. I don't know everyone. I'm at a loss. Yeah, Ernest will get more snaps, but like it's weird, Josh. Like we're clearing cap, but like he wasn't making a lot. If he was making like 4 mil, I would get it. Or if he was traded in a Kyle Fuller trade, I would get it. But just as like just get out of here, man, I can't imagine him Can you imagine being Kenny Young and getting the news just right now that you've been traded? That's probably the last thing you thought was gonna happen. Like, probably the last thing you thought was gonna happen right now. Um, yeah. So, Vanillatron anyways, back to Cooper Kupp, Vanillatron. White rice because of Jerry Rice. That's a good one. Wow, Revelation. Revelation is in here with some good ones. So nicknames for Cooper Kupp: Vanillatron, White Rice, Super Cooper. Um, he's the best wide receiver. I agree. That's great. I like those. That made me feel better. They better be trading for Roquan Smith. Ooh, I mean, I don't know if we're trading for a linebacker though. I think the Rams, if there's anything we've known in the last handful of years, is they do not value the linebacker position, the inside linebacker position. They value secondary, safeties, cornerbacks, edge rushers. So yeah, Rob Navarro, Cooper Kupp is Hall of Fame bound. Yeah, Jesse Davis, Kenny Young for a Broncos 6th round pick. And that's just Gerald St. Augustine. I didn't pick any Rams because I might jinx them. Oh, for fantasy. Hey, when you know they're going to be good though. We just traded Kenny Young to the Broncos. Should have traded Troy Reader. I don't think people are going to take Troy Reader. We must be clearing cap for a new linebacker. Ain't no way they just trade our best middle linebacker for a 6th. That's what I'm thinking, Josh. Agreed. Kupp is amazing. Would like to see Woods more involved though. We need him to stay healthy all season and fresh for the playoffs. I mean, Woods did have 70 yards last year or the last game. It's Ernest Jones time, guys. I think that's Brandon said it, just summed it all up. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It is Ernest Jones time. So let's see what Ernest Jones has. They like him a lot. Jeremiah says, gotta make room for someone new. Only thing that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, unless it's Ernest Jones and Chase Rosen, boom. That's crazy. Could have gotten a 5th for Kenny Young at least. Reader would have struggled in the 4th choice on some teams. Yeah. Trade back for Kenny, please. Yeah, Kyle, I'm feeling that. Zena de Goat, since we are going all in, we might as well trade every single pick we have for DBs and replacing Troy Reader. Yeah, it's Kyle Fuller. Who's the cornerback for the Dolphins? Xavier, I want to say Rhodes. I don't think it is. Anyways, I mean, he's on the block as well. With the Rob Heavenstein restructure and trading Kenny Young happening, we have to be eyeing someone. Yeah, I mean, there has to be something happening here. It must have to do with the salaries and cap space. I'm telling you, Snead is making a trade before next Tuesday's trade deadline. Yeah, I mean, like, it is Les Snead. He does do this. He does pull off crazy trades all the time. So I think we just got to, I would just assume that we're trading for someone. Roquan Smith. I mean, why the Bear? I don't think the Bears are parting with Roquan. Is Roquan on the block? Kyle, can you tell me that? Tell me, Kyle. Is Roquan on the block? Going for Brian Urlacher. Interesting on the Kenny trade. We have to have something planned, right? Why randomly trade a starter in a 6th round? That is very weird. Like usually if it was player for player, I'd get it. We have to be eyeing someone. Trade for Roquan Smith. Games to come. What the F are we doing? Kenny Young got traded. What the F? Snead lost this one. Why did we trade Kenny Young? We better get the greatest MLB of all time and DB's holy bleep. Only thing back about Urlacher is his hairline. Boom, McBong. Just shots fired at Brian Urlacher. Young traded. Young gone for a 6th. Young has been traded. Okay, I think everyone knows Young's been traded. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think it really just comes down to the position that I felt Kenny Young played for inside linebacker. There's like the thumper inside linebacker, and there's the rangy one. And he was the rangy one, who could cover more. And so, yeah, Xavier Howard. That's right. So it's like Xavier Howard, Kyle Fuller. Those are the guys. But I don't know if the Rams are going to do that. It's crazy because I think they feel like maybe they're looking at the Cardinals and they're saying, okay, this is what we have to do to match up against the Cardinals. What if it comes down to in the NFC Championship game is Rams versus Cardinals, and you've got maybe David Long out. You're forced to play David Long again, or Dante Dion against AJ Green. So I mean, maybe they're looking at teams in their division or teams that they could play and how they're going to match up and seeing what pieces they need. So yeah. So, anyways, I don't know. In Sneed, we trust. I think Masanori, you nailed it. Good to see you, Masanori. Good to see you, Xander. A Green Substance, Johnny B. Good, William Blocks, and I'm about to sign off. I need to get some water. But I just want to thank everyone. This is kind of I was going, this is all Rams and Lions, and now it's crazy. Kenny Young was traded. So, you know, yeah, more to come on that. Follow me on Twitter at Real LA Rams Talk, and I'll have more to say on Twitter before the Texans game. I'm sure some stuff will drop before then. So, anyways, thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you for helping me through this crazy Kenny Young experience. And as always, go Rams.